Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome back to the daily readings of Srila Prabhupada's books, where we're dancing in transcendental ecstasy here in Hythe, live studios, southeast in England, next to the English Channel. Srila Sanatana Goswami's Sri-goloka-mähätmya Stotram. Sorry, I'm a little late. I had to go to the Apple store in order to get a new hard drive before I tried to reinstall my operating system to make sure we can back it up properly. Sri-goloka-mähätmya Stotram, the glories of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the basis of the Brhad Bhagavatamrta, goes like this. Sarva Shastrabdi Piyusha, Sarva Vedaika Satpala, Sarva Siddhanta Ratnaja, Sarva Lokaika Drikprada. O nectar from the ocean of all scriptures, singular fruit of all the Vedas, rich mine of the precious gems of all conclusive truths, you are the only giver of sight to all the worlds. Sarva Bhagavata Prana, Srimad Bhagavata Prabho, Kalidwandodita Ditya, Sri Krishna Parivartita. O life air of all the Supreme Lord's devotees, O Master, Srimad Bhagavatam, you are the sun risen in the darkness of Kali. You are the exact image of Sri Krishna. Paramananda Pataya, Prema Varshakshadayate, Sarvada Sarvasevyaya, Sri Krishnaya Namostume. I bow down to you, who are supremely blissful to read. Your every syllable pours down a flood of prema. You can always be served by everyone. You are Sri Krishna himself. Madeka Bando Matsangin, Madguru Man Mahadana, Man Nishtadaka Mad Bhagya, Mad Anandas Namostute. My only friend, my constant companion, my spiritual master, my great wealth, my savior, my good fortune, my source of ecstasy, I bow down to you. Asadu Saduta Dayin, Atini Chochata Kada, Hanamun Chagadachin Mam, Premna Rit Gantayospura. O bestower of saintliness to the unsaintly, O exalt over the most fallen, please never leave me, always appear in my heart and my voice with pure love. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So you'll be happy to know that this morning we had an initiation, and Antoine, Bhakta Antoine, became Ananta Kripa Das Brahmachari. He's very happy. All the devotees were here and very happy. Hare Krishna. So we are in the middle of a huge commentary by Sanatana Goswami, translated so nicely by Gopiparanadhana Prabhu, it's hard to explain. So let's just hear it. We're right in the middle of this purport. We're starting on the paragraph rather than attempt to enumerate all the glories of Vaishnavas. This is text 14 of the 7th chapter of the second part of Brhad Bhagavatamrta. The whole purport is about the glories of the Vaishnavas and Vaishnava association. Must be at least 20 pages. Rather than attempt to enumerate all the glories of Vaishnavas, an impossible task, We should know that a single saintly devotee equals all the demigods combined. Pure devotees are our real friends and our own dear soul, the source of our life. In fact, in Krishna's opinion, the Vaishnavas are none different from himself. Earlier in Srimad Bhagavatam 11:11:49, Krishna said to Uddhava, "Now I will tell you something especially confidential, because you are my servant, well-wisher, and companion." Krishna then said, "My dear Uddhava, by associating with my pure devotees, one can destroy one's attachment for all objects of material sense gratification. Such purifying association brings me under one's control. One may perform the Ashtanga Yoga system, engage in philosophical analysis of the elements of material nature, practice non-violence and other ordinary principles of piety, or chant the Vedas. One may perform penances, take to the renounced order of life, execute sacrificial performances, and dig wells, plant trees, and perform other public welfare activities. One may give charity, carry out severe vows, worship the demigods, chant confidential mantras, visit holy places, or accept major and minor disciplinary injunctions. But even by performing such activities, one does not bring me under one's control." Bhagavatam 11:12, 1 and 2. The first and second steps of Patanjali Rishi's Ashtanga Yoga method are 12 niyamas, minor regulations, and 12 yamas, major regulations. Sri Krishna lists these for Uddhava. Non-violence, truthfulness, unwillingness to covet or steal the property of others, detachment, humility, freedom from possessiveness, trust in the principles of religion, celibacy, silence, steadiness, forgiveness, and fearlessness are the 12 primary disciplinary principles. Internal cleanliness, external cleanliness, chanting the holy names of the Lord, austerity, sacrifice, faith, hospitality, worship of me, visiting holy places, acting for and desiring only the supreme interest, satisfaction, and service to the spiritual master are the 12 elements of regular prescribed duties. These 24 elements bestow all desired benedictions upon those persons who devotedly cultivate them. Bhagavatam 11:19, 33 through 35. The company of exalted Vaishnavas counteracts not only material attachment, but also attachment to the Supreme Lord's pastimes in Vaikuntha and abodes other than Goloka. What to speak of the power of direct contact with Vaishnavas, even hearing descriptions of their greatness leads to the highest success. As Sri Vidura states in the 3rd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, persons who hear from a spiritual master with great labor and for a long time must hear from his mouth about the character and activities of pure devotees who always think within their hearts of the lotus feet of Mukunda, the personality of Godhead, he who awards them liberation. In the 4th canto, 4, 9, 10, Dhruva Maharaj makes a similar statement. My Lord, the transcendental bliss derived from meditating upon your lotus feet or hearing about the glories of your pure devotees is so unlimited that it is far beyond the stage of Brahmananda, wherein one thinks himself merged into the impersonal Brahman as one with the Supreme. Since Brahmananda is also defeated by the transcendental bliss derived from devotional service, then what to speak of the temporary bliss of elevating oneself to the heavenly planets, which is ended by the separating sword of time. Although one may be elevated to the heavenly planets, he falls down in due course of time. And not only is complete success in life guaranteed by any contact with the Supreme Lord's devotees, but even the company of the devotee, of his devotees, is enough to assure perfection. Thus Dhruva Maharaj says, O Lord, who having lotused navel, if a person happens to associate with someone whose heart hankers after the lotus feet of your devotees, whose heart always seeks the fragrance of those lotus feet, he is never attached to the material body or in a bodily relationship to offspring, friends, home, wealth, and wife, which are very, very dear to materialistic persons. Indeed, he does not care for them. Bhagavatam 4, 9, 12. Unlike anyone else, including the impersonalist yogi, the advanced devotees who have pure love for the Supreme Lord's lotus feet are completely free from the falsity of identifying themselves with the body. In the words of Lord Vishnu's Hansa incarnation, Bhagavatam 11:13-36, just as a drunken man doesn't notice whether or not he is wearing his coat or shirt, one who is perfect in self-realization and has thus achieved his eternal identity doesn't notice whether the temporary body is sitting or standing. Indeed, if by God's will the body is finished, or by God's will he obtains a new body, a self-realized soul doesn't notice, just as a drunken man doesn't notice the situation of his outward dress. Lord Rishabhadev describes the characteristics of great devotees. The Mahatmas are equipoised. They see no difference between one living entity and another. They are very peaceful, fully engaged in devotional service, and devoid of anger, and they work for the benefit of all. They do not behave in any abominable way. Those who are interested in reviving Krishna consciousness and increasing their love of Godhead do not like to do anything that is not related to Krishna. They are not interested in mingling with people who are busy maintaining their bodies, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. They are not attached to their homes, although they may be householders, nor are they attached to wives, children, friends, or wealth. At the same time, they are not indifferent to the execution of their duties. Such people are interested in collecting only enough money to keep the body and soul together. Bhagavatam 5.5, 2 and 3. Because Mahatmas are free from the material agitations of love and hate, they maintain an equal disposition toward friends, enemies, and neutral parties. In other words, the great souls are peaceful. This peacefulness is due to their being free from anger. This freedom is due to their being causeless benefactors of everyone. And this benefaction is due to their being firmly committed to saintly behavior. Their aim of life is to become trustworthy friends of the personality of Godhead. Concentrating exclusively on that goal, they take no pleasure in being with persons who, instead of pursuing the highest interests of spiritual life, are interested only in maintaining their bodies. The Mahatmas, rather, expend as little energy as possible working to sustain their material bodies. Lord Krishna gives his own appraisal of the Mahatma Vaishnavas to Uddhava in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 11:14-17. Those who are without any desire for personal gratification, whose minds are always attached to me, who are peaceful, free from false ego, and merciful to all living entities, and whose consciousness is never affected by opportunities for sense gratification. Such persons enjoy in me a happiness that cannot be known or achieved by those lacking such detachment from the material world. Devotees whose hearts are fully dedicated to the Supreme Person are the only real Mahatmas. There are certain external symptoms by which such great souls can be known. They avoid acquisitiveness. They are beyond attraction and repulsion. They are affectionately concerned for all living beings, and they are pure in heart, untouched by the spirit of selfish enjoyment. Their internal characteristic is the happiness they taste from a relationship with the personality of Godhead, a happiness no one but the pure Vaishnavas can know. The Lord's own happiness is also nothing like the Brahmananda of self-satisfied impersonalists. Because Krishna is the servant of his own servants, he is also eager to share with his devotees the ecstatic tastes of bhakti rasa. I am completely under the control of my devotees. Indeed, I am not at all independent. Because my devotees are completely devoid of material desires, I sit only within the cores of their hearts. What to speak of my devotees? Even the devotees of my devotee are very dear to me. Bhagavatam 9:4-63. A devotee with strong faith engages sincerely in worshiping the Lord. And when by that worship he develops transcendental attraction, he becomes a true Mahatma. Thus, faith that leads to attachment is the principal inner symptom of an advanced Vaishnava. Sri Havis, one of the 9 Yogentras, has described this most essential characteristic of pure devotees. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is so kind to the conditioned souls that if they call upon him by speaking his holy name, even unintentionally or unwillingly, the Lord is inclined to destroy innumerable sinful reactions in their hearts. Therefore, when a devotee who has taken shelter of the Lord's lotus feet chants the holy name of Krishna with genuine love, the Lord can never give up the heart of such a devotee. One who has thus bound the Supreme Lord within his heart with ropes of love is to be known as Bhagavata Pradhana, the most exalted devotee of the Lord. Bhagavatam 11:5-55. The most elevated Vaishnavas worship Lord Hari in his original form of Krishna. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Bhagavatam 1:3-28. The holy names of Krishna, being none different from him, Sakshad Dari, are so potent that even when uttered unintentionally, they destroy heaps of sins. Krishna, in his inconceivably wonderful Vrindavan pastimes, nullifies the threat of many demons, such as Aghasura, by killing them and awarding them liberation. In Vrindavan, Krishna's loving devotees have bound him within their hearts so that he can never escape. The statement above describes these most intimate devotees by using the word Bhagavatamrta, a word grammatically singular in form because they are relatively few in number. During Kali Yuga, human beings with such saintly qualities are rarely found in this world. Certainly, we never see many lions together in one place. Or as the goddess Earth says in Sri Hari Bhakti Sudodaya 13.2, Sudurlabha Bhagavata Hiloke. Pure devotees are very rare in this world. And in the words of Maharaj Nimi, for the conditioned souls, the human body is most difficult to achieve, and it can be lost at any moment. But I think that even those who have achieved human life can rarely gain the association of pure devotees who are dear to the Lord of Vaikuntha. Bhagavatam 11.2.29. Pure devotees are rarely found in the material world because devotion to Sri Krishna arises only in a person who has been relieved of all traces of sinful reactions and has properly carried out all pious duties. Persons who have acted piously in previous lives and in this life, and whose sinful actions are completely eradicated, are freed from the dualities of the delusion, and they engage themselves in my service with determination. Bhagavad Gita 7:28. To attain devotional service unto Lord Krishna, one must perform charity, follow strict vows, perform austerities and fire sacrifices, chant japa, study Vedic texts, observe regulative principles, and follow many other auspicious practices. That's Bhagavatam 10:47-24. Human beings whose sins have been completely eradicated by thousands of lifetimes cultivating austerities, knowledge, and meditative trance can develop devotion for Krishna. Yoga Vasishta Ramayana. From these statements we can infer that a person with no devotion for the Supreme Lord must be sinful. Nor can the knowledge gained by seekers of impersonal liberation be called bhakti, because even texts like the Yoga Vasishta, which are tinged with impersonalism, indicate that tapas, jnana, and samadhi are means toward the end of Bhagavad Bhakti. As Srila Sridhar Swami writes at the end of his commentary on the Bhagavad Gita, Jnanyasya bhaktyavantara vyaparatvam eva. Jnana is but a secondary activity, subordinate to bhakti. And in the Bhagavad Gita itself, 10.10 and 18.54 and 55, Krishna clearly describes knowledge, Buddhi Yoga, as but a means to achieve the ultimate goal, pure devotion to Him. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. One who is transcendentally situated at once realizes the Supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments or desires to have anything, he is equally disposed toward every living entity. In that state, he attains pure devotional service unto me. One can understand me as I am, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, only by devotional service. And when one is in full consciousness of me, by such devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of God. Thus Krishna makes a distinction between jnana and bhakti, and so do his faithful devotees. This means, of course, that the impersonal worshippers of the Absolute are not as spiritually advanced as the devotees of the Supreme Person. In the 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 4.22.69, Sanat Kumara tells Maharaj Prithu, the devotees who are always engaged in the service of the toes of the lotus feet of the Lord can very easily overcome hard, knotted desires for fruitive activities. Because this is very difficult, the non-devotees, the jnanis and yogis, although trying to stop the waves of sense gratification, cannot do so. Therefore, you are advised to engage in the devotional service of Krishna, the son of Vasudeva. The unlimited ways the Supreme Lord employs his energies are all his vilas, expansions for play. But pure Vaishnavas are especially attracted to serving him by hearing and chanting about his vilas in Sri Vrindavan and his other spiritual abodes. Thus Lord Kapila-dev, after instructing his mother at length about several varieties of progressive discipline, advised her that of all sadhanas, recitation of the pastimes of the Lord of Vaikuntha is the most important. Devotional service itself is also vilas, an expression of pure joy. By taking part in the bhakti vilas of honoring the Supreme Lord's Mahaprasad and dancing, singing, and performing other services for his pleasure, saintly devotees untie the knots of material bondage. The materialistic attitudes born from false ego within their hearts. Impersonalist sannyasis may subdue the senses, but they are unable to untie the knots of karma binding their hearts. Or even if able to begin to unravel those knots, they cannot undo them completely. The impulses of the senses are compared to the current of a mighty river like the Ganga, which can never be stopped. Without the special protection of the Supreme Lord's internal energy in pure devotional service, no one can stop the incessant flow of sensory agitation. Non-devotee sannyasis fall from their elevated status, therefore, whereas fully surrendered devotees never fall. While Krishna was in the womb of Devaki, the demigods prayed, O Madhava, Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord of the Goddess of Fortune, if devotees completely in love with you sometimes fall from the path of devotion, they do not fall like non-devotees. Bhagavatam 10.2.33. Though this statement concedes that pure devotees may in theory fall down, saintly authorities never accept that possibility. Paramahansa Vaishnavas are solidly established in intimate friendship with the Supreme Lord. Therefore, they never fall into illusion under any circumstances. Impersonalists conceive of the Supreme Self as formless or as a void. To reciprocate with them in kind, the Supreme Lord presents himself to suit their taste. As the personified Vedas describe in their prayers, Viyata iva padasya tava shunyatulam dadataha. Just as the ethereal sky has no connection with perceptible qualities, so also you resemble a void. Bhagavatam 10:87-29. The impersonal conception of the Supreme is deficient, however, because it ignores the essence of self-realization. Pure devotion for the Supreme Lord's lotus feet. Thus, only the faithful Vaishnavas are true saints, sat, and everyone else is asat. Following the example of such saints, one who desires to succeed should take shelter of the son of Vasudeva and worship him. Persons who spurn the protection of this personality of Godhead are not Vaishnavas. Without shelter, they are in effect spiritual orphans. But the Vaishnavas under the Lord's protection, free from fear, free to use all the activities of their senses in the Lord's service, easily gain liberation from bondage, the bondage of material existence. And beyond that, at every moment, they enjoy an abundance of fresher and fresher ecstasy that those who are merely liberated can never know. Impersonalist sannyasis can obtain deliverance from the vast ocean of samsara only after long, severe endeavor. But the Supreme Lord's devotees cross that ocean happily, effortlessly. As the presiding demigods of the causal elements prayed to Lord Vishnu at the beginning of creation, O Lord, your lotus feet are like an umbrella for the surrendered souls, protecting them from all the miseries of material existence. All the sages under that shelter easily throw off material miseries. We therefore offer our respectful obeisances unto your lotus feet. Devotees who take full shelter of Lord Vishnu's lotus feet are much more elevated than ordinary sages or sannyasis. Such devotees abandon reliance on anything else and depend solely on the Lord. In contrast, impersonalist sannyasis, by leaving their families and changing their dress, only seem to renounce materialism. In reality, however, when they subscribe to the Advaita idea of pure consciousness, they imagine themselves to be the Supreme Lord, Narayana. Hello? Such a state of mind forces them to presume that everything they see or hear about, other than themselves, is an illusory product of their own Maya. These adherents to the Advaita Vedanta philosophy call themselves yatis or sannyasis, but they must be distinguished from the Vaishnavas, whom the Bhagavatam designates as real saints. In fact, the Advaitavadi yatis are not free from the reactions of their past and present sins, nor are their hearts cleansed of the taste for sense gratification. Though ignorant of the truth, they consider themselves learned, and their personal character is just like that of the demonic enemies of Vishnu and his devotees. As the demigods prayed to Krishna while he was in the womb, O lotus-eyed Lord, although non-devotees who accept severe austerities and penances to achieve the highest position may think themselves liberated, their intelligence is impure. They fall down from their position of imagined superiority because they have no regard for your lotus feet. Anybody who wants to hear about that in great depth can read the 24th chapter of the Madhya Lila of Chaitanya Charitamrita, when Lord Chaitanya straightens out Prakashananda Saraswati and all of his followers. The personified Vedas similarly prayed. Members of the renounced order who failed to uproot the last traces of material desire in their hearts remain impure, and thus you do not allow them to understand you. Although you are present within their hearts, for them you are like a jewel worn around the neck of a man who has totally forgotten that the jewel is there. O Lord, those who practice yoga only for sense gratification must suffer punishment both in this life and in the next. From death, who will not release them? And from you, whose kingdom they cannot reach. Bhagavatam 10:87-39. According to the Yoga Vishishta Ramayan, when an ignorant, half-conscious person declares everything is Brahman, the result is that he becomes entangled in a network of most hellish existence. The Brahma-vaivarta Purana also states, a person absorbed in enjoyment of sense objects who says, I am Brahman, will burn in hell for 10 billion days of Brahma. Oh my God, 10 billion days of Brahma. One day of Brahma is 4,600,000,000 years, 300 million years. 10 billion days. I'll let the scientists in the crowd calculate that number. And in another Purana we read, if a person absorbed in the pleasures of material life says, I am Brahman, he has fallen both from Vedic duties and from transcendental engagements. He should be rejected like an outcast. Before meeting Sarupa, the Brahmana from Mathura was ignorant of the glories of the Supreme Lord's devotional service. But by the company of Sarupa, his saintly spiritual master, he at once became as successful as those who realized their spiritual identities after long, disciplined efforts. Such is the power of association with pure Vaishnavas. Earlier in this book, all kinds of spiritual practices were explained, but this special glory of Vaishnava association was not. Vaishnava association is the most sublime secret. It is the best means of spiritual attainment and is in fact the essential aspect of the ultimate goal. That is the end of the purport to verse 14. It took us 2 days to read. Hare Krishna, and it's exactly 8 o'clock. So I'll end the reading tonight, and we can meditate on the association of absolutely pure devotees. And even those devotees who are sincerely dedicated and attached to the absolute pure devotees. Hare Krishna. So, any reflections? I mean, there's unlimited points in this purport. And I didn't even read the Sanskrit. I mean, there were so many verses quoted, and I didn't read the Sanskrit because it takes too long. And most people don't understand the Sanskrit anyway, so these translations are very, very nice of these verses. Okay. Any comments, reflections?
Charlie Davidson say Hare Krishna.
Who?
Charlie Davidson.
Oh, Charlie Davidson.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna Bhakta Charlie. How goes it?
Brhad Bhagavatamrta. Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances or glories to Srila Prabhupada. Your sheer humility at the end of the reading yesterday about your pastime with Srila Prabhupada was heart-touching, to say the least. Bless me that I can give up my selfish ways to achieve such a level of love and humility towards you that my life becomes successful.
Oh, Krishna, who am I? I am just a particle of dust at the feet of Srila Prabhupada. But thank you very much. And may you achieve that goal. That's a very lofty goal. And to just express that goal in the association of devotees will guarantee you that success. Hare Krishna.
From Gopiparanadhana Dasi. Hare Krishna, dear Maharaj, and all friends, the lovers of Sri Brhad Bhagavatamrta, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Jaya, glories to Prabhupada.
From Rati Manjari.
Hare Krishna, Rati.
Jai Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. Nice to see you decorated with a garland once again.
Yeah, they made this for me because of the initiation today. It was made by the devotees in So Street who came down for the initiation. Hare Krishna, thank you.
I hope you all had a wonderful initiation today.
It was pretty extraordinary.
Brhad said, Jai, a new member of the family.
Yes, Ananta Kripa Das Brahmachari.
Brhad, actually I'm grateful because of your kindness and humility. We are equal, but your humility yesterday showed me why you are my guru, and I'm just a learner.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Brhad Bhagavatamrta. Thank you very much. Your charitable disposition and you actually have a heart of gold. You like to hear, and that's a very rare quality. So just keep it up. Krishna repeats it many times in the Gita. Touch Trinu, touch Trinu, touch Trinu. Just hear, just hear, just hear. So by repeated hearing, Prabhupada says in his purports again and again and again and again, just by repeated hearing, you will get everything. You don't have to become a learned scholar. You don't have to become a especially qualified person. You just have to keep on hearing with a pure heart, with a non-envious heart. And that you have, and that you're doing. So your success is guaranteed. Hare Krishna.
From Rati Manjari, Ananta Kripadas Ki Jai.
Jai.
May you attain the highest and most sublime goal of life, pure devotion for the divine couple, by the unlimited mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Srila Prabhupada, and your beloved spiritual master.
Yes, Ananta means unlimited, and Kripa means mercy. So it's a very wonderful name. It means both the qualities that if we are the servant of those qualities will bring us to complete perfection. And that name can be the name of Lord Nityananda or Sri Balaram. And so it could be a name of Lord Balaram or Lord Nityananda, also servant of the original spiritual masters. Hare Krishna.
From Anandamurti Devidasi, Jai Gurudev, please accept my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for reading very important lesson. Association with pure Vaishnava is very rare to attain. By reading Srila Prabhupada's books, we get association with Srila Prabhupada, who is a pure Vaishnava.
Yes, absolutely true. And if you heard this very carefully, you'll understand that if you associate with devotees of those pure devotees, you will get also the same benefit. Devotees of Prabhupada who were sincere and who were following his instructions and spreading Krishna consciousness, the association of those are the same as associating with Prabhupada. The spiritual disciplic succession doesn't stop with Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
From Gopakanya Devidasi, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. The pure devotee of the Lord dear Maharaj, giving association through this transcendental. You, dear Maharaj, giving association through these transcendental readings. How fortunate we are. Hari Hari Bol.
Anyway, I'm just like I say again and again, I'm just a peon. I'm just reading. What am I? Who am I? I'm just reading these wonderful purports and verses. Hare Krishna.
From Noel Craver.
Bhakti Noel Craver.
Hare Krishna, dear Maharaj. From Rati Manjari. Dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisance again and again. I have a question about yesterday's reading. We heard how Sri Sarupa touched the head of the Brahman from Mathura, and then he understood, realized everything Sri Sarupa told him to be real. How wonderful.
Yes. That is unusual, and it's exceptional, and it shouldn't be taken or imitated. And we shouldn't think that if a person can't do that, that they're not qualified to give everything. It's a special circumstance. But if you hear the instructions of that person, then you can get the same benefit if you hear properly. It was a special circumstance. That was the mercy of Srimati Radharani directly, because she was the one who told him to enlighten him. And when he saw that he wasn't getting everything, even after he heard that story, he just gave him everything. This is the same thing that happened when Lord Chaitanya was talking with the Qazi. He explained everything to him, but then he touched him, and he became fully enlightened and gave up his angry disposition. And of course, he also got touched by Lord Nishingadev on the chest. That helped. Hare Krishna.
From Rati Manjari. I remember hearing from Srila Prabhupada how he dismissed the incident of how one well-known guru from India touched his disciple's forehead and then he lost all his potency.
Well, not only did he not give him enlightenment by that and lose his full potency, nothing happened. He didn't have any potency. It was just a show. It was a bluff.
How can we compare these incidences in our preaching, and can we understand it that when pure devotees touch us, it is always a form of special mercy?
Well, it says in the Nectar of Instruction that one of the principles of devotional service is to touch the bodies of Vaishnavas. You know, when we do kirtan and when we greet each other, you know, there's sometimes the touch of the body of the Vaishnavas, and that is also a part of the process of purification. But you know, Sarup was in spiritual body. He had his spiritual body, so his touch was different. Just like Lord Chaitanya's touch was different because he's Krishna. But either Krishna or a devotee who has achieved Goloka Vrindavan, they have different degrees of potency. Their potencies are unlimited. If you touch the body of the deity, or if you touch the Bhagavatam, you also get that benefit. The problem is that we aren't qualified to taste the benefit, to respond to the benefit. So we have to keep purifying ourselves by constant hearing and chanting, meaning constant, meaning every day, and everything will come from that. But we have to do the work to accept it and embrace it and cherish it and follow it. Then we get everything. Hare Krishna.
Rati Manjari said, thank you very much for elaborating these details.
Hare Krishna. Okay, thank you so much. Brhad Bhagavatamrta ki jai. Samabheda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees.
Hare Krishna.
Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bo. See you tomorrow night, same time, same place, same topic. The creme to the creme to the creme. Hare Krishna. See you tomorrow.